Welcome to the Street Shaman Podcast, Therapeutic Tuesdays. Hope everybody's feeling alright. Hope y'all like that beat that I just introed with and shit. Appreciate y'all. Zoo the Prepper, UG. What's up, UG? You gonna get on later? I'm sure you're gonna get on a little bit. Come on, girl. Don't try to hit me with no Spanish or nothing, because reading Spanish and then answering in Spanish. Come on, girl. We can't do that. I'm Puerto Rican for sure, but I'm New York Rican. Really, I'm New York Rican. I barely know Spanish. My brother, my family, they know Spanish, but I barely know it the way I should know it. I could read it and everything like that, but we're going to have a hard time. It's going to be like fucking second grade reading, me trying to read some shit in Spanish. ¿De dónde eres? I'm Puerto Rican. Like I said, I'm from Puerto Rico. She asked me, where you from? From Puerto Rico. I'm originally from Jersey. I was born, raised in Jersey for the most part, but I traveled through the U.S., so I picked up a bunch of little quirks and fucking accents along the way, so I don't even know who the fuck I am. I mean, I know who the fuck I am. I'm just me. I'm a traveler. I'm a different person, but as far as, like, trying to put me in a nationality or put me with a group of people, that's not going to work. That is not going to work. All right, today we're going to talk about mental health and the psychedelic experience. Through my mental health, as far as coming up in this shit, I've always wanted to be a musician. I always wanted to be a rapper. I always wanted to do music since I was a little kid. And that kind of shows you my mental health. In a sense, when you're 8 years old and you wanna be the biggest rapper in the world, to be able to support your family and everything that they're going through and be able to be there as far as financially and helping them through their shit. And you set forth a goal in your life at 8 years old that you're trying to do certain things to try to benefit your family. Yeah, obviously you're going to get some perks. Obviously I was going to get some perks. I was going to get some money. I was going to have the life or whatever the fuck. I was going to be able to fuck all the women that I wanted to fuck, right? That's kind of like in the brain. But at 8 years old, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking, maybe I can help my family. Maybe I can get my family to a better place. Because I saw everybody struggling. You know, like my life, I grew up on about $8,000 to $10,000 a year. So me and my brother, we survived and grew up on $8,000, $9,000, sometimes a little better a year. A year. We was on food stamps. She had Section 8. My mom was getting like a little measly check. That was about it. So for a little kid, yeah, of course he's gonna think like, let me try to exceed expectations and try to get this bread so my family could be right. You know what I mean? So we're gonna talk about psychedelics. We're gonna talk about mental illness. I want people to send a request. I know Kay, you want to send a request. Send that request through. That is my vocabulary. I say fuck me running. I say ain't that about a bitch? Or fuck my life. I say shit like that. UG was good.
What's good, fam? How you doing? Anissa, hi, baby.
Hey, sweetie pie. Looking juicy as
That,
ever.
Anissa, is that your name? Anissa?
Michelle or Anissa is fine.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. I'm trying to fix my shit because I'm breaking things and dropping things. Look at my light. This shit trash.
Yeah.
Want to stay. This is that bullshit.
Oh, I've
Where'd you
sellotaped
get it
mine
from?
to the table.
5 and below. I got it from 5 and below. That's how cheap this shit is. Either $5 or less. And eventually I'm gonna get some new shit. But I've been rocking out with this shit. Even the stand, I gotta touch this shit lightly. If not, it's right. So how y'all doing? Anissa, how you doing?
I'm good. We have a thunderstorm in London, but I love thunderstorms.
You love thunderstorms. Why do you love thunderstorms?
Because it's Mother Nature, it's raw, it's in action. I love all the noise, the lightning, everything.
No doubt. UG, what's good? How you feeling?
I'm chilling. It's been a little bit of a busy day, but yeah, it's my lunch break, so I'm chilling right now,
Oh,
feeling good.
Lunch break on a fucking podcast, really? I'm sorry.
she's so hungry.
Otherwise, I'd be taking a nap. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good. I'd rather be doing this than stressing about what I'm gonna have to do when I have to go back to adulting. So
You've been working from home, basically.
yeah.
How's that been?
It hasn't been that bad. I'm not looking forward to like the ultimatum that we're being given as to whether or not we want to return to the office. So I'm figuring it out.
What do you mean? Like you're not looking forward to going back to the office anyway?
No, because in order to do so, you have to get the.
Oh, okay.
So they got to give you the jab.
Yep, and I'm bobbing and weaving, bitch.
Right. We're not ready for that jab. We're not ready. We don't know what that jab got. We don't know really. You got to bust a little bit of time.
Exactly, and there are still a lot of people.
What baby wants to get on the podcast? Sorry. What baby wants to get on the podcast?
It's okay.
She's a Scorpio. She wants all the attention.
That's right. That's my niche.
That's your niche. Yo, Kay, what's up, man? How you feeling? How you been?
Nothing much, chilling, killing, hanging out.
What you been up to, bro?
Nothing much really. Music, weed, sleeping, and looking into quantum physics.
Okay. So you've been on your nerd shit. You've been on your fucking geeky shit.
I've been on my nerd shit for like 5-6 years. So it's no different. Nobody listens though.
Trying to figure out life.
We listen.
Oh yeah, the knowledgeable listen. But I'm trying to teach those that are unteachable.
Bro, you're fighting an uphill battle. I'm gonna let you know that, bro.
I know, but I figure like as long as I got the energy in me, I might as well put it to something good.
I feel you. I right now don't have any more energy, motivation at all to help anybody that doesn't get it, that doesn't.
That's all I have. When I see really stupid people that just don't get it, it makes me want to talk to them more. Because, like, I remember when I was really stupid and thinking really stupid things, and I just wish someone called me the fuck out and told me how stupid I was. So.
How old are you right now, Kay?
20, about to be 21.
Oh, you see, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I still got the bitch in me. I still got that energy to fucking bitch at people.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna tell you, you got about like 2, 3, maybe 4 years left of trying that.
It's getting on me closely. Like I'm getting real tired of it. But I'm trying. I just keep pushing, keep manifesting positive energy, and just trying to find more ways that I can explain it to people. Recently, as I told you in DMs about the whole what we did with rats and how we learned that trauma can be passed down through genetics, and we're trying to see how that correlates with human addiction, abuse, and things like that, especially how it correlates to oppression and our communities today.
Right. So, what made you get into this? What made you go into that direction?
Originally, because I started questioning God when I was 11 years old. And that's where it started. And then I started looking at different religions and different theologies, and I found that they all really preach the same shit. They're just sanctioned by different world leaders to fit a certain narrative, when in reality, the basis of it's usually love, usually speaking. But then governments and people get a hold of it and turn it into something wicked and evil, when it's supposed to be spiritual and about love.
Right.
And I know it's like a big cringe, like, oh, that's not all fucking spirituality is love and shit. But fuck that, man. Like, I feel like, of course, no, it's not the only thing that exists. But when you choose to focus your energy on that, as well as, like, you have to realize what does go wrong, but just choose to focus on the good things, the silver lining and everything, you'll find life becomes a little bit more easier years down.
Right, 100%. It's like like with me, I would look at that, I would cringe at that too. Like everything is love, yes, I would want to portray in the past. I would want to portray myself as a loving person, and I was a loving person to an extent. But after like the reason why I asked you is because after like a psychedelic experience, what people would deem as a spiritual awakening, that's the message that I got.
I was
that
actually doing psychedelics with that purpose when I was like 15, when I started doing psychedelics. I did it specifically to find answers to things. And that would mean taking down bad rabbit holes. I can't do acid anymore. I will immediately freak out. But it's because I kept thinking too much when I wasn't ready for it.
Exactly. Because you was young. So like
No, kids should not be doing that shit.
Yeah, your frontal cortex, whatever the fuck they call that up there, that does decision making for you, that wasn't developed yet. That's still not developed. Yeah, that's why you sitting there trying to argue and fight people about things that they don't even care about, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to find the people that actually care about it, that actually know what's what, and talk to them. Because I know that it becomes isolating when you start knowing a bunch of information and other people don't know that information properly. Amen. And even if you try to extend it to them or talk to them about it, because they haven't learned it firsthand, that it's hard for them to even digest it.
They can only meet and on their level.
What happened?
They can only meet and understand you on their level, so.
Right. So it's just like, it's hard because once you get this information, if it's on psychedelics, it's on some shit like that, you get some information, some good information, you're going to end up wanting to share it with everyone. Like, I knew after my spiritual awakening, that was the only thing that I wanted to do, was share everything that I learned and I know. Exactly. And nobody wanted to hear it. Everybody's like, I mean, this motherfucker crazy. What happened to him? What happened to this motherfucker right here?
Yep. See, like, earlier you said something that, like, you try to you try to be really loving, but you're not only loving to an extent. I feel like it was the exact opposite for me, because I remember when I was younger, I would get in fights with my sister and my parents. I remember one day my mom flipped shit. I'm like, I'm a mama's boy, don't get me wrong. I love my mama. She's psycho as shit. She, like, fucked me up as a kid, but I love her. And I remember one day I got in a real big fight with my sister during Hurricane Harvey. Because they had, like, went out during the hurricane to help people, but my dad and I were freaking out, like, where the hell did you go? And so, like, I was yelling at them, like, what the fuck are you thinking? And then my mom came in and she was like, there's so much fucking hate in your heart. You're so fucking hateful. Why are you so just fucking angry all the time? And then I sat down and I was like, shit, I am really hateful. I am really angry. Fuck, what's wrong with, why am I so angry? And that's when I really started diving into the powers of positivity. Like, I already had ideas of it, but I wasn't applying it to my life.
Right, but that takes a certain person, Kay, to actually look at their life or look at something that somebody said to them and then turn it around and go, are they right? Are they wrong? Are they, should I consider what the fuck they're saying? Because realistically, most people just say, fuck out of here, man. I know what I'm doing. I'm da-da-da-da-da. So what you going to tell me? The fact that you had the humility to actually think about this shit or actually say, what's wrong with me? Why was I thinking this way? Why was I? That's a certain type of person. I don't know how that happens, how you pop out of shine like that, but that's who you are, bro.
I believe it comes from caring about people. Generally, when I found people that really disagree with me and I break it down into very core values, it's that I will care about the random motherfucker on the street as if he was my brother, as if he was me. And that's where I get to, is like, eventually I feel like if I'm hurting someone, then I need to care about that. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Like, even if I don't understand it, I need to take a second to step back, step out of my own skin and say, how do you feel about this? Let me see things from your perspective. And I feel like that's what people don't do. They can't feel that empathy for people. They care about themselves and their family. And that's cool and all. But, like, everybody's family, man. Like, how you going to keep breeding hate expecting it to turn into love?
Right. Yo, UG, what do you feel about this? How do you feel about this conversation I'm having with Kay right now? Have you ever been in a psychedelic experience where it changed your mind? Have you just thought about this shit by yourself? What was it? Talk to me.
I did mushroom and was tripping balls for a little bit, but it ultimately boiled down to me feeling like me feeling like I gotta get my shit in order. I gotta start to. I don't know where to start. And looking at my life experience and how I might be contributing to a lot of other people's shit with my shit, trying to feel like that there are levels somehow like my stuff supersedes the anyone's importance or the significance of anybody else's. And yeah, it was a matter of like starting to realize that if everyone shit, but you might as well try to be presentable about it. Try to be civil about how you're managing it, because no one deserves to bear the burden of your crap. Is
Right.
what kind of like running through my head. I remember crying, like furiously crying.
So what gave you that idea? Was that something like an epiphany that you had within yourself, or was that something that you learned somewhere?
It was a little bit of both. Like once after like a certain amount of relationships that just went freaking haywire, having enough times where I found myself coming back to school. Yeah, it made me wonder, like, okay, like, are you pissed off that you feel like other people are putting you on a wheel? Or are you on a wheel? Are you on your own trip? Are you on your own shit? You're responsible. By little, like the more it happened, I'm like, you know, I just it was like it was a gradual process of like prying my fingers away from what I thought I was controlling and saying, you know what, let me just let shit happen, and I'm gonna make sure that whatever happens, I can deal with it.
So, Anissa, I know from talking in the DMs that you never taken any kind of psychedelic drugs, right?
No, I think I'm the only drug virgin here. But to be honest, because of what I do and how sensitive I am naturally as a psychic, I have got Celtic Irish background. I have got Native American ancestors, which is quite strong. All of the women on my mother's side are all psychic. So maybe I've reached certain levels and I operate at those levels without needing the drugs. I completely understand how they work and why people use them. And no, it is definitely all about love and that higher perspective once your brain opens up to that. So I completely understand why people use them. But for me and my family, it's just a way of life, and that's how we were raised.
Okay, that's good. You got some good parenting, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Without good parenting,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah, like I was saying, it's just how we are, and we're very, very close, like typical Caribbean families. I mean, my mother's one of 14, so you can imagine what a tight bunch we are.
Right. It's definitely a thing when you're in from the Caribbean, whether you're fucking Puerto Rican, Jamaican, Barbados, wherever you're from. We're very tight as far as family is concerned. So for most people, they get all the love, they get the nurture, they get understanding of other people because of how they were raised, how they came up. But so here's a question for you. What do you think that the rest of the people are missing that you've gotten to make you how you are, to think about other people and to have the lessons of life that you might have needed to make sure that everybody's okay?
I would say I had consistency in terms of love, and I have experienced trauma. I've experienced abuse on many levels from people on the outside when I had to go to childminders of the night time and what have you. But the difference I've noticed when I've shared my story with other people is that my family came in like an army with support. They believed every word I said, and we got the authorities involved, and I had the support I needed to heal and for there to not be a hole and a gap there. I didn't have to go looking elsewhere for answers. My unit was solid.
That's good. Are you grateful of that unit? Do you like now that you're speaking on it, do you really realize how good you might have it as far as mental support?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I do what I do. It's not easy. And a lot of the time I'm helping people for free because the people that I think really need it can't afford it, especially after the pandemic. I've been flat out. I've got clients in the US, in Canada, in Australia. The ones that can afford to pay more so that I can reach the people that can't afford to pay. And I'm trying now to get in with children, especially where I've just experienced abuse and I'm going through the court systems with my ex and I now have a 2-year-old. I've, with every person in authority that I've had to speak to, social services, the police, everybody is so surprised at how well I've handled it and that I haven't walked away with some sort of addiction. They're very, very shocked at how mentally strong I've been through it all.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like, that's a blessing. It's a blessing to have people in your. It's a blessing to, not have to go to drugs or feel like you need to escape in some type of way. Because for me, like, I grew up, like I said, I grew up in a family that was at the bottom of the bottom. So the only thing that we really had to do to escape was drugs. And growing up, I was very opposed to drugs. I was very opposed. I didn't do any drugs till I was 25 years old. Anything. I drank a little bit, maybe 2 shots, maybe a couple drinks or whatever, but I never really took it to that limit because of what I saw in my family. I saw people doing drugs. I saw people, abusing them to the point that they don't give a fuck about their kids.
Wow.
So that was where I came from, and I've seen people just selling drugs. Like, my brother used to cook coke right on the fucking stove. My mom giving him, like, this is, you think about it, we're getting $8,000 of fucking gear from the government or whatever. How do you live?
Yeah, but I think your higher self, to be honest, knew that psychedelics in particular was the way out. Now, the way that people in my ancestry will use natural psychedelics, you can actually leave behind the ego, go higher up and connect to source, and you can get answers and you can heal traumas. And I do think that if we used it in the right way naturally, we would help people unlock and release and heal a lot of trauma, especially through childhood, because we can't actually remember because of the small fraction of our brain that is active at the moment. It helps you access and go through doors that you didn't know existed. So I think with what's in you and in your DNA, you knew that psychedelics, they can even help rewire your brain. If somebody has been addicted to cocaine and their brain gets wired the wrong way, a few controlled, in a supportive environment, a few controlled experiences with the right psychedelics at the right amount will help heal and completely rewire your brain the way it should be.
Right. Yeah, like right now they have the let me not fuck this up. Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies. Yeah, I had to write it down, make sure I didn't fuck it up. Can't do it. Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies. It's called MAPS. Right now, what they do is they do MDA studies. They also do treatment with MDA. They do MDMA. They do treatment with mushrooms, psilocybin as well. And it brings people back from a traumatic state, and it kind of gives them a spiritual awakening in a way that they have some sort of guidance. Because I feel like a lot of the issues that we have as far as with psychedelics for mental health, a lot of people are saying not to even try to fuck with psychedelics because they know how off the rails you can go. Like Kay was saying over here.
Yeah.
That's combined with youth and bad.
100%. Hey, I did it myself. I went through the whole thing, and I was a fully grown adult, so to speak, and I ended up going off the rails because I didn't have the proper guidance.
Yeah.
There were, look, I took the psychedelics. I know what you're talking about. I get what you're saying, but here's the truth, or here is your blind spots. You're seeing everything in a bigger picture, but you still got some blind spots.
DMT, please.
And those blind spots, if they're not addressed and taken care of, they're going to be the detriment to your life. So, like, need guidance with the psychedelic experience. We don't need people just jumping off the fucking bridge and taking any psychedelic that they could find or get their hands on. How do you feel about that, Kay?
I feel like a lot of the issues I feel go back to parenting. Usually kids will go to these as means to escape, whether it be from good parents or bad parents. And yeah, I don't think people have good role models because no one wants to talk about it. It's just such taboo. And then the few times that it's not, kids don't really listen. I remember, like, again, because I did go into acid and psychedelics with a goal of learning. And even so, I thought I was so much smarter than all the other kids doing it because I was doing it with a purpose and I was trying to guide myself along. I would have notes that I would have to read. And then halfway through it, it would be completely incoherent mess. And I wouldn't be able to remember what it was. And I think that's really because I wasn't able to comprehend the things I was trying to learn. And it just fucked me up. Kids don't have good role models. And even if they did, I'm not sure if they would listen. Because I know I didn't. I had people, because I was looking at things like DMT and the spirit molecule and then things from there. And I couldn't get DMT at all but 15 years old. So I settled for acid. And I don't know. I feel like I'm a really weird example too, because like all the other kids were doing acid too. Everyone was doing acid. I'm the only one that got to where I did, probably because I was asking the questions I was. And
Exactly, Kay. Like, it's not about taking the experience, but you also got to take the experience with certain intentions. You got to take the experience like, all right, I want to learn this about myself. I want to figure out what's my next step. I want to diminish all this bullshit. Like, when I took it, I had a bunch of tension in my shoulders. I had, like, the world on my fucking shoulders. Excuse me. And then taking it, I realized I don't need to have the world on my shoulders. I let that go. I had love. I had like a better understanding of life, but it was hard to bring it back to other people that I knew. That was the biggest issue, was trying to bring it back to people that I already knew before this experience and trying to show them a new way when I barely even understood a new way. UG, did you feel that way when you took the mushrooms?
When I took them, it kind of took me back to like some experiences that I had when I was younger, and it did, to Anissa's point, make me feel like the thing about things that impact is it separates us from that natural ability we have to be in touch with our intuition. So when we are so hard to use alternate means to escape that lack of connection, that's when we're doing that. That's when like the doing of the experience of any psychedelic becomes something that can actually be like a little jarring at first. Like when I first took it, there was a heart that I felt, all of the disconnection that I had previously. So it's like all of a sudden it just like hit me like a ton of bricks, and it took adjustment, and then it took me crying to realize that I was holding it. It was from all these things that was holding me back. And if anything, I felt like all the weird things that I kind of put off and I didn't want to think about when I was younger all started springing back to mind. So it's like it's a repression and a separation that happens when you live a life where you're trying to escape from the lack of support you felt that would have naturally given you that connection to the source, would have naturally given you that connection to people. And it's something that can't really explain because no one really feel that they're disconnected from anybody. No one really feel like they're like not up to snuff and not operating at optimal levels. Like, so you can't really explain that, hey, if you did this or if you took this, it would put you back in touch with something that you might have disconnected from a really long time ago. So it's an individual experience, and it's a matter of how the intent that people come to it with and the respect that they approach this a psychedelic experience with, that which will keep you from abusing it, but help you to actually realize what what the experience is trying to give you.
Right. Like for me, I wasn't gonna abuse psychedelics in a sense, because that shit was scary. Like if you take a lot of psychedelics, that shit's gonna be scary. If you having a great time, then that's probably because you're a kid, kid over there smiling, laughing and shit.
Because
You
I would have
probably
really
kid.
bad trips and go do it again the next day at school, like I learned nothing. So
Right. But you were young. As an adult, you're like, wait a minute, this might fuck up my brain. Let me not take too much. And if it wasn't for somebody that just gave me too much, because I couldn't measure the psychedelic that I was dealing with, I couldn't really measure it. And it was one of those really, really strong psychedelics. You could take this much, and that'll blow your fucking mind. And the first thing I thought was, what Yuji was saying was, I had to purge all my bad thoughts. I had to purge all the tears. I was just crying. Even if I was fucking laughing. Even if that's fucking beautiful. Tears are just falling. They were just dropping. They were coming down like a motherfucker. I was like, God damn. All these damn tears.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boalo said he has a question. Considering the dangers of psychedelics, what's your take on hypnotic regression? Yuji.
Oof. I'm the jury is out for me on that. I'm not sure, because I do believe that there are certain people that by going through certain modalities, they have been able to like kind of have that meta experience, that reconnective experience with whatever they feel that they're spiritually maybe or metaphysically out of touch with. But I haven't experienced it to say that it works or it doesn't work. But I've heard people say that they figured out things about themselves that they wouldn't have known otherwise. So I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. Maybe I might. I'm not sure.
Hey, what do you think about that?
So first I have to question what is meant by hypnotic regression. Like, are you speaking of when you're hypnotized into reliving a past memory in order to like benefit from it better?
I think so.
Okay, in that case, so I am not extremely educated on the topic, so I don't want to give like an answer that people should listen. However, I do know that when you play with important memories like that in lucid dreams, and if you relive those very important core memories, very traumatizing memories, especially from once in your childhood, that can actually fuck with your idea of reality entirely. And you'll start to question what's real and what's not, because your memories will then be fabricated. Your memories are very, very feeble and very weak. Every time you call upon a memory, it changes ever so slightly, whether it be the color of shirt you're wearing or the way you did your fucking hair. Like, something minor is different every time you remember something. And so knowing that, I do have to say that that's really questionable and should only be done, at least in my opinion, in very extreme situations where you've tried everything else and you just need something to work.
Anissa, do you have anything? Anissa, you got anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I've been with clients and I've been with my ex when he's been hypnotized and gone through things. Because he took so much cocaine and it rewired his brain, he couldn't work his own way back to the trauma in his childhood and remember why he treated women the way he does and everything else, and why he became a narcissist. So, but the thing is, you're right about the memories being very fragile, because your perception as a child is so different. And the way that you're reading body language and angry words that you don't understand and things like that, it's a lot. And for you to try and process that with an adult brain, it is difficult. So as long as you're doing it with a professional, and obviously his hypnotherapist was doing it step by step, and we could come back out of it and address it and talk about it and then go back in at the next session. Again, you've got to be really, really careful about something like that. And you have to go in with an intention. Why do you need to access that memory?
Right. Talking about memory, like one of the things that I noticed was as a kid growing up, I felt like I was free. I was able to go out into the streets, do whatever the fuck I want. You know, whereas kids had to be stuck in home. Maybe you go outside for an hour. I see you. I was already running the streets doing whatever. And growing up, I thought that was a great thing. I had fucking birthday parties at 10 years old where we're grinding up on each other. I've had, crazy good experiences, so to speak. But then as you grow older and then taking the psychedelic experience, I realized that that was different. That probably wasn't the right thing for me. That probably wasn't the right thing for a parent to do for the kids. And that kind of fucked me up for a while. It kind of made me feel bad about my life or what my mom was doing and allowed. But
Right.
as you get a little bit older, as you look at things a little bit better, see the difference is when you're a kid or when you grow up and you figure some shit out like that, if you're on a psychedelic experience, I'll look at my mom as she did the best she could. She was just trying to do things. Maybe she did things different. Maybe she was trying to well, they doing things like that. I'm going to try to do this, and maybe I'll help my kid out. Maybe my kid love me more. Who knows? But then when you're off that psychedelic experience, you just get, my experience anyway was I remember most of the bad, and I couldn't remember a lot of the good because I knew what harm it caused and what harm it could cause to anybody.
Yeah.
So that kind of fucked me up, and that made me have to think about my shit and think about myself a little more. Think about what was going on, think about how I look at things. But the psychedelic experience, one of the bad things was it made me question everything. It made me question every fucking thing. So for better, for worse. Some things were good, but now I'm questioning them for their bads because everything that's good is also bad somehow, some way to somebody.
I think because it gives you more contrast and there's pain in that contrast, you see.
Right. 100%, 100%. And that contrast, is something that I live with. If I just talk and I'm having a conversation, I'm constantly weighing out the goods with the bads, or I'm constantly considering the goods with the bads. And that's as far as what society brings and how we're supposed to function in society, that is probably not a good thing. If
It's
you
exhausting.
Go for it.
No, I'm saying it's exhausting that you have that battle going on all the time. You need to give yourself some grace, because none of us are judging you that hard or or weighing up everything you're saying like that. So give yourself a bit of a break and make peace. Like you said with your mum, she thought she was doing the best that she could at the time. And if or when you have children, you'll do better.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, we do have a question. Why people use mushrooms instead of drugs that mental health doctors give you? Anissa, I'm going to start with you.
Because they're natural. So, and I mean, mushrooms can be toxic, but with most things that are natural, your body can handle it and get rid of it quicker than something that the doctor gives you. With chemicals, with my clients, I've just had a client who is a hypochondriac and he's been put on an antidepressant even though he's got anxiety. I think it's completely the wrong medication. I think the doctor's just churning all these, prescriptions out really quickly because there's a backlog after the pandemic. If you go to a holistic doctor or you do the research yourself, I think, I'm not encouraging anybody to go and do psychedelics by themselves, but I think that because it is natural, it's probably better for you, to be honest.
Right. Kane, what do you think?
So I'm very conflicted. I feel like there's different groups of people that should be addressed with this. The first being the people who actually know what they're doing, which I guess you'll never really know if you know what you're doing until it's too late. But For those people that actually know their shit, have done their research, and are doing it with a professional in states like Colorado and such, then it is exactly how she said. It's because it's more natural, and the fact that these other drugs seem to be used to manipulate us.
Yeah.
You know, they help us a little bit, but they're used to keep us in check as well. But then there's also the group of people that do it to have fun, and that's fine, but claim that for specific purposes. Like, there is research being done for ketamine right now that it can be useful for certain types of therapy, and then people are like, yeah, ketamine. But no, you're dumb. Quit trying to argue about using a drug frivolously when the specific study is supposed to be under specific certain circumstances with professionals. It's not to just have fun with it. Same thing I say for stoners. Like, people who smoke every day and claim it's for health benefits are lying to themselves. It doesn't help your health. You might think it does, but it really is hindering you. You're creating a chemical addiction in your head, whereas marijuana isn't addictive in itself. Your brain is addictive to everything. Everything.
100%. Yuji, what do you think?
Yeah.
I agree that there are certain circumstances under which psychedelics are useful, and if you're using them for the right, as you said before, the right intent, you're in the right conditions, there are benefits to using them because they don't have the drastic and exacerbated blowback of pharmaceuticals and all the extra that they throw into it that imbalance everything else, while, in an effort to balance, serotonin or dopamine absorption, it throws something else off. And now you have like an attention deficit, or now there's a problem with your liver. Now there's a problem with something, those extra things can be avoided by using things that our body, it comes from the earth. So our body on some level actually is already producing it. Like, our brain already secretes DMT. So, if our bodies are naturally producing it and we take something that enhances the experience, that's different than taking something that is, again, chemically altered and expounded upon and mixed with how many other things that will, in some cases, possibly permanently do you damage. The same way that if you were to use any psychedelic abusively, it can do damage. So if you use it occasionally and you use it for the right reasons, I would always say that psychedelics are always going to be better than doing anything that big pharma produces.
Right. And I agree with that. I agree with that because it's natural, like Anissa said. It's fucking natural. Why wouldn't we take something that's natural opposed to something that's synthetic, something that they made in the lab, something that we know for sure when you hear all the like side effects, it's like this long list that they gotta fucking mention real fast. You might get nausea, get nitrogen, you might get the blood loss, and it's like it's like, oh, hold up, what's that all about?
Right. Like, you might not be for a week. Side effects include death. Like, what? Nah, I'm good.
Right. Okay, let me see if I got another question for y'all, because I know we about to soon. This is quick. This shit goes quick. An hour goes quick on this motherfucker. I don't know how, but it goes really fast. Okay, so how do you think the world can benefit from a powerful mass psychedelic experience? Do you think the world can benefit from it? Like, if we just dropped a bomb of mushrooms for everybody to fucking have? Do you think that's beneficial or not? No? We don't. All right, Anissa, start with you. Let's go.
They're not ready.
They're not ready. Kay, how you feel?
So I'm a little, I'm not a professional. Who fucking knows? I want to say no. However, I do know that change requires a lot of pain in the process. So if that's the pain that's required for change, then maybe, but I'm not a fucking professional. I'm just giving what ifs.
Right. And that's what happens when you take too many psychedelics, bro. It's just what ifs. And on the other hand, maybe look at it from the other perspective. Yuji, what do you think?
To quote Randy Jackson, it's not for me, dog. I do not think that they just collectively trip. We're barely with each other on a day-to-day basis under normal circumstances with a little bit of liquor or some wine or a little bit of bud or whatever. So everybody collectively tripping balls at the same time.
What if it's a bad trip and you guys have guns over there? That's like
Right.
Yeah.
That's another question.
Girl.
What if all this shit went wrong? Like they dropped a psychedelic bomb and this shit is trash. Like everybody is fucking losing their mind. They're acting like it's Dark Knight or some shit. They're acting like it's Batman or something.
you know,
Batman Begins or some shit where they got the fucking funny gas.
You do it on Valentine's Day, and then everyone is just humping in the streets. That's what you do.
Hey,
I don't want to.
that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. If I see motherfuckers humping in the streets, I'm gonna be fine. Like, oh, hell yours. I see you.
That doesn't work. Children out in the street, like we're totally disconnected. There are children that can be walking around like.
Sound all right. Sound the alarm. You have an hour. Lock the children away. Everybody outside.
No, fuck that.
Anissa, you need more than an hour. You're gonna need like 8 hours. You're gonna need like a half a day, damn near, because you're gonna be high for like 6 to 7 hours, and then you got like 6 or 7 hours to process that motherfucker. At least try to process something.
Well, I mean, DMT only lasts like 20 minutes.
Right.
It is 20 minutes in reality. It don't feel like it though.
Well, then
right.
You'll
It feels like a whole day of shit.
Yeah, and you'll think you had a whole day of some good loving and go home happy.
Hopefully.
I say that it needs to be on like some commune stuff. If you want to do it, if you ask, these are professional administrators of this. You will be given like ayahuasca. If you're gonna do it, you have to go through all the preliminary stuff to get your shit right before you even get into the first meditation to sniff the snuff before you drink the drink. So, nah.
I'm sorry, you're going to be sniffing what?
Nicotine is to sniff up before you actually like drink the mixture. So yeah, before you, from what I've heard, because I ain't done it, but yeah,
of course.
I think that it would need to be like very, very ceremonial if it is going to get done. Just like Poe, we talked about, you know, the life of a shaman in the past. The people who were out there in the woods taking shrooms, listening to birds, reading clouds or whatever. These are people who have been doing it their whole life, isolated from society, so that when they were integrated back into it to say whatever the bones, the runes has told them, that they were untainted by the hysteria that they might experience or might impact them when they get back around regular people. So it has to be measured.
I understand that, Yuji, but at the same time, like, we're dealing with a mass hysteria right now. I would think that if we were to get that little briefing of like, this is what you're about to take, this is what's about to go down, this is what happened, this is that we can fucking. I'm not saying all of us, Anissa. Don't start laughing. I ain't say all of us, but I feel like a decent majority, like maybe 55.
It's really bad being psychic because I know what you're thinking. They hear what you're saying.
Okay, psychic girl, I'm sorry, you know what I'm thinking? The fuck? No, I'm just saying, like, we can help each other, but I don't think that we can help each other. I'm just making jokes right now, Anissa. You gotta chill out. I know the situation. I'm making jokes. I'm bringing up what ifs. Okay, I'm bringing up what ifs.
Yeah, I like
so. Right,
So
I honestly know. Go ahead, Kay.
Have you ever tripped with a large group of people? I mean a large group of people. Like not just 10, 20, like 100, 150.
No, not 100, but like 10, 15 people, yeah.
At one gathering of the Juggalos, this one dude called Gandalf administered over 150 tabs of acid directly onto people's tongues in a circle.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you want to come to the gathering with me next time?
I want to come with you. What the fuck? What you talking about? I'm not gonna take all them acid trips. I'm gonna put the rest of them in my pocket somehow. I'm like, no.
Okay, so the thing was, he wouldn't let you put it on your own tongue. He had to put it on your tongue just to make sure that no one could ever fuck with it, to make sure that you couldn't take it and fuck with someone else. He had to put it on your tongue.
Okay, fuck that guy. No. But go ahead, tell me your story, because you got like 6 minutes left.
Oh, dude, I can't even remember it, because I was being the sound guy at this little on stage, and like the whole time I was just working, and the lights were just all sorts of crazy shit, and I swear I was hearing, it wasn't like I was hearing everyone's thoughts, but I could feel their feelings all around me, and it was just, since it was at a big gathering music festival, it was just so much love and beauty, and I can't imagine when I've been happier.
So the guy did his thing. He put like 100 tabs on your fucking tongue, and you was just happy as a clam.
Oh no, he didn't put 100 tabs on my tongue. He put one tab on over 100 people's tongues. My
See, this is why you're not in charge of distribution.
Go ahead, Kay.
He put over 150 tabs on multiple different people, so one on each person. So it was over 150 people all tripping at the same time, all in front of this stage at this little concert. And it was a fake stage too that we had built. So it was just a bunch of little ninjas.
Okay. So what happened from that? What happened from that, Kay?
He's not allowed to disclose any information.
People shouldn't do this, but I think everyone had a good time actually. No one did anything bad till the next day when this girl took some bad Molly, and then she was flipping out and biting people. But then we had to get paramedics with her, all sorts of crazy shit. In itself, it just felt like I could feel everyone's feelings. And as I was working the stage, I was just watching the crowd and the lights, and I don't know, like I just felt everyone. And I even saw someone who I perceived to be an enemy, who I didn't like anymore. And because of that, I was able to go sit down with them and be like, look, I'm tired of being mad at you.
Right. And that's the thing. When you take a psychedelic and you take a high volume, you grow trust for some people that you might not have trust. And I think that would be great, but it also could be terrible for motherfuckers nowadays, because there's so many people that you can't trust, and they're not going to take the psychedelics. I've been in situations where I took psychedelics for people that I thought were going to take the psychedelics and I was going to be able to help them, heal them, whatever the fuck. And those motherfuckers, like,
you're not a professional. Quit trying to do that. Trust me, we're not professionals.
No, that dude took that. He didn't take it. Pretended to take it. I'm gonna take it. He didn't take it right. He went and he started fucking trying to manipulate the whole situation where everybody tripped balls. Gotta remember that this is what Charles Manson allegedly did. He got allegedly he was a CIA operative or whatever the fuck, and he went in and he pretended to act like he was taking on psychedelics. He got people on the psychedelics, and he ended up manipulating them to his will. So we got to be a little careful. That's all it is.
I didn't even consider that.
But yo,
an army of killers.
I feel you. Okay, I want to go to a gathering. So whenever the fuck they decide to open that up, yo, hit me up, bro.
I got I'm part of one of the biggest gathering crews, so you can show up with nothing, and we'll give you a tent, food, clothes. So.
I'm down, bro. Anissa, thank you for joining. Kay, thank you for joining. You Rose, appreciate you for joining. You know you be putting in the work. You be coming in. You be doing your thing. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of y'all.
Likewise. Having me.
I'm gonna play one more beat. Thank y'all. I love y'all for coming through. Play one more beat and we're gonna get the fuck out of here. All right.
Much love.
Much love. Street Shaman Podcast. I'm trying to remove motherfuckers. Oh, I'm by myself. All right. We got one last beat and then I'm out of here. I appreciate y'all. I'm glad that everybody came through. Show some love on the chat. Show some hearts, emojis, all that shit. Appreciate y'all. Street Shaman Podcast, Therapeutic Tuesdays. And we out of here. Should I put my shades on? I'm put my shades on. Fuck that.